I was watching Carlos the other day, and there was something unusual for a big fight. You weren't in the corner.
Yeah. No, I actually had a wedding to attend. I'm pretty sure I've only missed 2 fights, and they've both been for weddings. So, yeah, I was on the other side of the planet. Actually, I was in Colombia for a good friend's wedding. But yeah, Carlos was in very good hands, and the boys got the job done, and Carlos got the job done. So it was pleasing to see that. Yeah, I mean, marriages, births, yeah, and funerals, Tony. Like, sometimes there's a few things that take precedent over fighting, and yeah.
What time did you see it over there? What time of the day?
Man, when was it? Early in the morning, like very early in the morning, yeah.
And the overall, how happy were you about that? Because it was a really good opponent.
Yep, no. That's a very good opponent. We managed to spend most of the time in the right real estate, the real estate that Carlos wanted to control, and minimise the amount of time that we spent in the real estate that the opponent wanted to maintain. And so that was the real story of the fight, yeah. So, yeah, Oezdemir, we knew Oezdemir. We knew Oezdemir had a very particular type of attack, and he needed to be in a certain area of the cage. And we just tried to deny him that area, and that was the overall, that was the basis of what Carlos was trying to do, and everything kind of worked off that.
Good way for him to end the year. At the UFC year isn't ended for you, because next, in a fortnight's time, Nav.
Yeah, I think Navajo is going to round off the year for us. Like, it's been a pretty busy year. He's going to round off the year with his fight night in Tampa Bay, which is in Florida. He's got a good stern test, so it should be a good debut for him. Another opportunity for him to introduce himself and his skills and what he brings to the table to a bigger, wider audience.
Is the camp gone well? Are you happy with the way things have...
Yeah, Nev's firing on all cylinders, mate. Like, he's doing... It's refreshing, you know? It's what a camp should look like when you're in your mid-20s. Should be firing on all cylinders, so it's good. He's his training camp's going really well, so he'll be in like the best form of his life come fight night.
For the overseas viewers that haven't seen Nav in action, what does he bring that a lot of other fighters don't have?
I mean, he brings what you typically see from a lot of fighters in this part of the world, and that's like a really high level understanding of distance, and mainly the stand-up distance. But he's young in the game, so he came into the sport where he got into grappling and wrestling like quite early, and so his grappling and wrestling is a lot more mature than some of the older names that you see coming out of this gym, whereas he was able to get onto that really early. So he's got a pretty good all-round game, I would say, but as is typical, he definitely excels when he can keep the fight on his feet. Yeah, so you just see a higher level of stand-up than you're usually accustomed to in the UFC. That's what you should see
I think we will. Now, there still talk about UFC, although he's not there yet, but Cam took another step towards it, I would say, at the weekend, Cam Rowston.
Yeah. No, Cam had a good win over a solid opponent, and yeah, Cam just did what he needed to do to win, and Cam took the road of less resistance. I felt Cam could have, the plan for Cam was the plan for Cam was to find out where he was comfortable in the fight, and take it there, and we really left that to Cam, and we did that because we felt that Cam was better in all areas of the sport than his opponent. It was just up to how he was feeling when when you actually feel the guy. It's things change a little bit. It's a little bit different. So it's wherever he felt the least path of resistance was. And
that's something that you wouldn't do very often, would it?
I mean, at the regional level, you're fighting a guy's. You have a little bit more freedom to be a bit looser because, a lot of the people in the regional scene it's very developmental. They're still working out their game, and they're still working out. They're a jack of all trades, master of none. They haven't excelled in any one particular area, so you don't necessarily know what area that you might be able to get some dominance in. And then, Cameron was vastly more experienced than his opponent, and so his opponent had only had 6 fights, and I think a lot of those fights were stoppages. So the time that guy's had to develop under heat and pressure, there hasn't been much of that. So it was just so then it's hard to find out where you need to apply your pressure, and then so we had to kind of leave a little bit of creativity for Cameron to find out where that was, and then we had our suspicions obviously, but then he found his own path to victory, so good on him. He's developing Cameron's a world-class middleweight. He probably should be in the UFC, yeah.
When I come in today, something that excited me, Aaron Toe and Nikora Kingi have got opponents.
Yeah, they're going to be our absolute last fights of the year. So they're fighting on the Bali MMA Kangoo fight night on the 22nd of December. So yeah, and then they should be back just in time for Christmas, or we should be back. I'm going to go to that as well, just before Christmas. So yeah, they'll round out the year. That's a week after Navajo. It'll be up to those 2 little guys to get the job done over there.
We know a lot about Aaron, but Nikora is a really top-class fighter as well.
Yeah, Nikora's a talent. And he's really good at the wrestling and the grappling. Picks it up really, really fast. You can see why he was able to. You can see why he's such a good stand-up athlete. The developmental part of Nikora's is always going to be difficult because he's had so many kickboxing fights against some great opponents, and then it's a little bit unfair to put him in with these MMA guys that have had 1 or 2 professional fights when he's had 30 or 40 fights, so you've got to find a balance. He's also new to MMA, so it's also a little bit unfair to put him in there with these veterans that have got all these wrestling and grappling experience, and he's only been doing it for a couple of years. So it's very difficult when you get an athlete like that to find the balance of who should he be fighting, what level of guy he should be fighting. But he's worked pretty diligently the last couple of years. I think he's just about ready to throw his name in the hat and just just give it a crack at, whoever puts their name down. Yeah, he's like basically at that place. So that Kingi fight night will be good for him just to see where he's at, because he hasn't had another MMA fight since his last loss, which was about a year ago.
You come in here and walk around, and it's a little bit. It's not cosmopolitan. It's like there's people from everywhere around the world here these days. Yeah. You've got some exciting fighters too in amongst them.
Yeah, no, like there's no one here that doesn't know someone that knows someone. That's kind of a standard rule. Like we don't really accept people that you can't really just come and show up. Like you've got to know someone that knows someone that knows someone, because at least that's like a little bit of a character reference, right? At least if you know someone that knows someone, we can at least be like, oh man, what's this guy like? Yeah, because that's when you have an environment like this, you want to be a little bit protective of it, and you want to be careful of that old adage, like one bad apple, can ruin the barrel. So like I've got the young German fighters, but again they were connected to another German fighter that came here a year ago, and so I was able to meet them through him. And then I've got UFC fighter Rongju here, and he's connected to Mike Ango and Mark Timms, who work at the Chinese PI, so he's going to be here for his next camp. And then I've got Khan Offley here from Aussie. He's here for a few weeks, and he's always come here sporadically over the years. There's quite a bit of a United Nations out there at the moment, but they're all accounted for. I know them all. There's quite a few young Japanese guys here, but again, every one of them knows someone that knows someone that knows another Japanese person that's been here at some stage. So yeah, it's good. I think it's good. It's like just makes for an exciting time at training, because you got the different guys and they're all dedicated towards the same cause, but they have slightly different nuances, right, that other people can learn off.
One person that we come here a lot, and he had a fighter on the Eternal, Benny Johnson, and I see he retired. I bet you've got a few nice words to say about Benny, because he spent a lot of his fight camps here towards the end of his career.
Yeah, me and Benny get on well. Like I had the privilege of coaching Benny for a couple of his fights and a couple of his camps, and he was gracious enough to come over here and help Israel a few times, and maybe some of the other boys when they were fighting Carlos, etc. And Benny's a good guy. My first kind of experience with Benny was, I remember when he fought that crazy fight with the kid that won King of the Ring from Wellington. I forgot his name now.
Ty.
Yeah, Ty. And they had a war. Yeah, they had a war, and people spoke about that like for years. They were like, man, let's see that fight. And then I think Benny was on the losing end of that, but then that's when I first saw Benny. And then he obviously went on and then had a fantastic career and grabbed the world title or two, and then switched to MMA, and then come over here for multiple times, just wanting to learn and develop himself as a fighter, and just be amongst a team or in a gym that had proven itself, that had got people to the top of the world year in, year out. He just wanted to be amongst that environment. To be fair, I think Benny, like a few fighters that I've come across in recent years, just left his run just a little bit too late. at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that was a hindrance to Benny getting in the UFC was just he's just a little bit old, and they like to invest. Like sometimes they do look at the fighters as an investment, forget the human side of it, and they'd like to invest in some of the younger up-and-coming bucks because they'll get more bang for their money. So Benny could have easily been a top UFC middleweight, but just wasn't able to get his foot in the door, unfortunately. But yeah, great guy. Benny, I don't know if you're watching this, but I'm sure you'll be a great coach. From what I know of you and your understanding of the sport and your dedication, you're going to be a great coach. So plenty to look forward to, Benny. Plenty of good times, plenty of good laughs me and Benny have. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And of course, just the weekend past, the biggest show that we have in New Zealand, the show that's launched so many good fighters, King in the Ring. You watched this year's edition?
Yeah. It's I had one of our young fighters, Capri, on there, and she managed to have a really hard fight that could have gone both ways, but she managed to win. But we didn't have anyone in 8-man, but it was cool to see. It looked like a whole lot of young guys coming up and trying to kind of like forge a path in the sport, and it was cool. It was cool to see that there's young talent. I think the young guy that won it, Tamani, I think his name was, that was well-deserved win. He looks like a real talent. And that's what, like sometimes that's what you want King in the Ring to be, right? You want it to discover new talent. Like sometimes it's good when the old winners come back and they dominate again, and you see that storyline. But sometimes you want the storyline where let's just discover someone new, like who's going to be the guy that we can keep an eye on for the next few years, who maybe will come back and try and defend their title. And I think the guy that won it deserved it. But overall, like the talent amongst the 8, I think was really, really good. Like, yeah, top class. All those guys just need to just keep fighting and stay dedicated and just keep churning over fights. And man, like there's 8 guys there. Like if they all fight each other once, that's 7 fights each, right? But if they fight each other twice, that's 14 fights. This is the kind of thing in New Zealand and, even in Australasia. This is sometimes what we have to do. We have to win, and then even if you win, just fight the person again, get more experience. Yeah, don't hold on to the win. Oh, he might beat me again. If he beats you again, then you can fight him again. And then out of the one guy, instead of getting 1 fight, you get 3 fights. If everybody has this attitude, you can end up, you can finish your amateur career with 25 fights, and then you can go into a pro career that has 25 fights before you have to fight the top guys in Australia and then the top guys in Southeast Asia, and then I wish all those boys the best that fought in that King of the Ring. Congratulations to the winner. Another great show, and it's good there's still heaps of talent being unearthed in combat sports in New Zealand, which is cool to see.
Looking forward to good 2025.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.